I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night. I spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Waiting, waiting, watching just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left this spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attacking me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside. But that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek through the curtains. Raina was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere, no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time. But I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Ooyshi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So, unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiji Maebara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I need to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. All right, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength, and entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Reina or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean it up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Reina or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Keiichi Maebara. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Reina arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Reina said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. Though, it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Ooyshi-san shared about Reina's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Reina as a cute, ideal girl. Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the nationals. It was Mion. I had already sensed her approach, so I wasn't surprised. Oh, Mion. If you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tactically keeping Mion from getting any closer. Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy! I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Kei-chan, when'd you get into baseball? Just recently. Recently? You mean yesterday? Don't ask if you already know. Oh dear. That's a very unsportsmanlike reply. You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility. But we were at school, in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I may not be able to move as I needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later. That was fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judge the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from the others, that's out of the question. Well, Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Ooyshi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. Ha 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 ha! This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts. What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it. Stop it. Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank I didn't understand it for a moment. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I? That's not what I meant. I wanted today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone. I'm not bothering anyone, am I? You are. Mion said it flat out. This didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating. Why did I bother anybody? Oh, when did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and spoke. Though she stuttered as she said it. Because, Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission. It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it. Huh? Ah, yeah, he transferred. Mion grew uncharacteristically flattered. Or flustered, not flattered, flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie. But strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself, while his little sister stayed behind. Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up. Kei-chan, you knew? Satoshi Huju. Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year. Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Reina asked the same thing. Why'd you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing, practicing his swings, right before he went missing. So, is this some kind of omen for Ooyshi-sama's curse? Shh! Mion panicked and looked around. Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Ooyshi-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Reina especially. Dangerously so? Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi. I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? But it still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions. I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him. We didn't mean to hide it. You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you? That's because we don't want to, You didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out? No, we didn't mean to. Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened. When someone was dismembered and murdered. You lied to me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends. Kei-chan, Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those get-well mochi you brought the other day? They were good. I thought I was gonna bleed. Who did it? You? Or Reina? Me. She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me! How could you do that to a friend? But it was just a little prank. Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I had swallowed that and lodged in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore. Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. So just leave me alone for a while. Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore. It won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been... Ooh, that's loud. Hold on, I'm adjusting my voice as I'm getting louder. The cops have been on you from the start. So don't think you can make me disappear like he did Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war. I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents too. I also know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that? How? How did you... No! Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom. Let's go. The class representative needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kei-chan. Me? I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. So that's how it is. Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. So it was... that bastard. He leaked it all to Kei-chan. She balled up her fists as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot in the ground with a terrifying, yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Reina's. I should have killed him back then. He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? Was she talking about Ooyshi-san? Damn it! Damn it! I'm gonna kill that damn old man. Ah! It felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral, bending, whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage. Rise! Attention! Mion made an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. After that, neither Reina nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The months since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense, yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home, without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today, and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recesses of my heart, achingly, I knew. This would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be. Whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere, mixed in with their shrieks, Tomitake-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I'll be amongst the Higurashi fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on his back, spasming weakly. Pui, 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 pui. There is still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened. But I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who'd brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No. Since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I'd hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Reina? Just like yesterday? If it was Reina, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Reina, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on my bat. I could tell that the fear I had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at the person following me. It's Reina. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Reina. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Reina that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was an axe. I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare? Baseball, practicing my swing, there were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that axe? There was no excuse for that. An axe, just like that? Keiichi-kun, are you playing hide and seek? I wonder. My heart was pounding, hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here. Were you trying to scare me? I wonder. I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us, than to allow Reina to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree. Ha 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 ha! I found you, Keiichi-kun. Reina was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact I'd been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs began to quiver. Ugh, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of vicious heat and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, That substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs of my body. Not good. Not good. I'll be devoured by Reina at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Reina didn't flinch one bit. Just the same as Keiichi-kun. I'm heading home. Then what about that axe? Then what about that bat you're holding? I'm practicing my swing. Then I'm treasure hunting. Reina gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. Treasure hunting? At the treasure mountain near that dam site, I found a new cute thing. So I needed this to dig it out. Huh, how could I believe that? You wouldn't believe it, would you? Ha 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 ha. Reina's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Reina's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious. Wait, Keiichi-kun. Ah ha 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 ha. Reina didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Reina got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. The cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Reina and was trying to escape. Don't follow me! I can't do that. My house is this way after all. Ah ha 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 ha. When I met with Reina on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Reina didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one that was cowering? If the way home for Reina and me was the same, that's fine. I'll just change my route. That would work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street that I'd never been down and knew little about. But Reina saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror. Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Reina too, doesn't he? I don't want to talk about anything with you. That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there? Not at all. I had nothing to talk to you about. That's a lie, isn't it? Not a lie. Lies! Reina's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace. Let's talk to Keiichi-kun. Talk. Ah ha 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 ha. Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street? Doesn't Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about? Nothing at all. I'm not worried about anything. Lies! Ha 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 ha. Even though I was running, even though Reina was walking, why wasn't I getting any further away? I know. I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiichi-kun? I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. Lies! Ah ha 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 ha. My breathing grew heavy, and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Reina wasn't even breaking a sweat. I'll listen. This time, I'll listen. I had no idea what she was talking about, or what exactly she wanted to do. This time, I'll listen. It'll be different from the time with Satoshi-kun. When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Reina was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop. Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time. But I didn't listen. I was so sad. Where did the street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs. It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out of the window. I really regretted it when Satoshi couldn't transfer it out. I thought, if I had listened, maybe... Oh, he may have not transferred out. I really regretted that. The road led me deeper into the forest.